Canadian Immigration Minister gave biggest statement that all temporary resident holders they may be given permanent residency. I think this is the statement of the year. This is first time in immigration history that one immigration minister of top country mean Canada is talking about that all temporary resident visa holders will be given nationality, citizenship, permanent residency. It's amazing news, and this is, I think, biggest news of the year in regarding to immigration of any country. So Canada, which was a capping student, which was a blocking skilled worker, which was changing rules again and again, and now they are showing their flexibility. And what is the flexibility? The flexibility is that we need to check the details of this major news. Actually, immigration minister told we want to reduce the numbers of temporary resident visas. It means that number of temporary resident visas, these people numbers must decrease. First of all, we need to define what are the people who are on temporary resident visas. When you go for skilled worker visa and you are working in Canada, you have the work permit, and you did not apply for permanent residency. You are a temporary resident visa, you have a temporary resident visa. If you are a student, you are studying in Canada, and you have planned to stay in the future as well, student visa, skilled worker visa, even you will get the work permit, postgraduate work permit visa after the education, after your degree, still you have the temporary resident visa. Similarly, you have visit visa, that is not the temporary resident visa. But when you will change your visit visa to work visa, for example, there are various routes by which you can convert your visit visa to work permit visa. Some companies offer you job, then you have the temporary resident visas. It means all people who are now currently in Canada and they are not visit visa holders, except visit visa holders, all people they have temporary resident visa. This is a very genuine statement because they told we are going to decrease the number of temporary resident visa. It means that how they can decrease the number of temporary resident visas. Mark Miller, Migration Minister of Australia, they told there are two ways by which we can decrease the number of temporary resident visas. Number one, we will give the PR or permanent residency or citizenship or nationality to all temporary resident visa holders. This is great news. This is the one way by which the numbers of temporary resident visas will reduce. Second one, they are telling the people who are coming to Canada as a temporary resident visa holder. Temporary resident visa holder means you are coming on student visa, you are coming on a skilled worker visa, you are coming on spouse visa, open work permit visa. Definitely you are also temporary resident visa. These numbers will be cut, mean that they will be given less visas and visas numbers will decrease. But once they will give the visa, it means they have to give permanent residency. This is a strange package. Mean that if you are going to apply for Canada and if you will get the visa, it means your permanent residency is assured. It looking very difficult practically how it will be possible to offer maximum permanent residency to all temporary resident visa holders, because current data of IRCC Immigration Department of Citizenship Canada and Refugees, Immigration of Citizenship and the Refugees Canada, IRCC, their data is little a bit different. Their data is that we are going to decrease the numbers of the PR. Even their numbers which they increased for 2024, 2025 and 2026, these numbers of PR are less. Now we were calculating the how many students entered Canada, how many skilled worker entered Canada, PNP program, all type of the work permits program, and the people who are on visit visa and they did convert their visit visa to the work permit, how many people they are and number of the PR visas they are less. So this is a very technical issue. IRCC will further explain this statement, but it looking logic because people who are in Canada, they are in Canada to get the PR. If you will announce today that students, we are not giving you PR, just Canada do one experiment. If the Canadian minister give this statement, this is just a positional theory, then you will be able to understand what are the objectives of the people who are in Canada as a temporary resident visa holder. Okay, for example, migration minister say, Mr. Students, overseas students, you want to come to Canada, we will give you visas. There is no problem. You all come. You welcome to Canada, but just pay the fee, complete your education, and go to your country. You are not eligible to work here after the study. After study we will not issue work permit and no any bridging visa, and we will also will not give you PR. We all give you visas. So students, if you are genuine, come to Canada. If they announce, I think there will be only 1% applications people will file. Now you will be asking that, sir, then most of the students are fake. No, these are not fake students. These are genuine students. They want to study, they want to get degree, but they are also thinking about their financial resources. They knew that they are consuming huge money in Canada during their study, and they knew that their home country is not going to pay money when they will come back and they will work in their companies. No company will pay them according to Canadian dollars, which they had consumed as a fee in the top universities of the Canada. And they knew that when they will work in the Canadian companies, they will get huge benefit. And they knew that there are chances of the permanent residency. Therefore, Mark Miller understand, if the temporary resident visa holders are in Canada, they are waiting for PR. And if the people are coming to Canada, they are coming for PR. I will say one further word. The people who are going to Canada as a visit visa holders, they are also planning to stay permanently, because they are thinking this is a one route to enter Canada. What they do? They enter Canada by visit visa. 90% Asian peoples, technically they are not eligible for students, so they think this is the easiest route. They got visit visa and they enter Canada, and then they try to convert their visit visa to work permit, and they are declared as a temporary resident visa holders. Now problem is looking in this statement. Now currently, according to IRCC data, the number of resident visa holders are surplus in the numbers. How Canada will accommodate all these individuals and will offer the permanent residency? But I think the statement is little bit shaky, little bit not elaborated in a precise way. So what could be the statement? What could be the actual meaning of the statement? The actual meaning of the statement is that, in my analysis, that the people who are on resident visa holders currently, mean they are student visa holders, they are work permit holders, they have spouse, mean open work permit holder, they will be eligible for permanent residency. We will give them chance, and we will give maximum people permanent residency. They will be eligible to apply for permanent residency. This is the statement technically contradiction to the new rule. What is the new rule? That they were making such rules that when students are in Canada, when they will complete their education, and we should give them work permit in such a way that they should not be eligible for the permanent residency. That was the think tank of IRCC was thinking. And what was the plan? That these students will definitely will not apply for PR, and we will reduce the number of the people, the migrants in the Canada, and they will go back after working, and we will give them work permit, postgraduate work permit we will give them, but we will not issue work permit for 5 years, or we will not extend, because technically they don't give 5-year work permit, they give 2 year, then 2 year, then 3 year. By this way, remember, if any person in the laws of rules of Canada will stay as a work permit holder and successfully work in top companies for 5 years, he is very eligible to get to apply for the PR. Technically, these Canadian department IRCC made such rules, new rules, due to which almost all migrants are affected, including students. Only they were giving visit visas more, but students were more affected. Skilled workers were also affected. That they technically, again, they were against students. They think that students technically using the PR quota more. That's why they were capping the students in the new rules, and they are capping definitely. And another thing, capping means students will less come in Canada. This was the capping. But another capping, which is hidden capping, which I will say, that capping was that when they will complete their education, they will not be given work permit by scientific way. Even the students did not know this thing. They will not work by scientific way, mean they will not be able to stay as a work permit holder for the 5 years. They were making limitation 3 year, 2 year, 4 year, or before 5 year they will finish that status. You have to go back to your home country. Mean that if your 5 years will complete, and you will be eligible for permanent residency. I think new rules change are totally without investigation, research. Australia similarly did, because both countries were suffering housing crisis. And when any person in trouble, for example, you are going to give interview to any individual and you are under pressure, you will spoke some harsh sentences, and your sentences will definitely will motivate other to say that you are not eligible. Reason is that because you are in a pressure. Similarly, I think IRCC felt certain pressure of housing crisis, and now IRCC by emergency was thinking how we can reduce the numbers of residents. They were not concerned with the housing crisis, because there were reports telling that IRCC is allowing migrants to come more to Canada, due to which housing crisis created and very significant problems. They were highlighting in their media that Canadian people are leaving Canada. If you will search YouTube, Canadian people are leaving Canada, this word is at the top of the key list. Reason is that it's true that Canadian citizens, due to housing crisis, expensive and taxes, they were moving to other countries. This actually not because of the migrants. They were not going because of the migrants, but there was a statement created in Canada by different departments, other departments, political statements, and people of the Canada, citizens of the Canada. They claimed that the migrants are taking over places, the migrants are using our sources, migrants are using our housing crisis, houses, and due to which housing crisis created. Now investigation told housing crisis in both Australia and Canada due to their rules of the construction, very strict rules of the construction. The construction companies were not allowed to construct house without paying huge taxes. Skilled workers, laborious workers, labor especially, and skilled workers, they were not given much skilled visas in the last years in Australia and Canada both. And these are the but when you have problem, definitely you have to blame something. You have to say something. You have to create the reason. IRCC unfortunately created the reason. Australia also, but I am explaining here Canada. The Canada and Australia both created the reason students. These are the students responsible. Now think, because this statement, these rules change without much research, without much investigation, and that now clicking several changes in the migration policies, and due to which a lot of people are suffering, a lot of students are suffering, a lot of universities of Canada are suffering, a lot of colleges of the Canada are suffering. You will be thinking that this is a little bit not good for the students. No, the students, no problem. Students will not go to Canada. Students will go to Australia. Students will go to United Kingdom. The student will go to the USA and to any European country. But universities of the Canada, colleges of the Canada, you will be astonished. Quebec, one province, one college, and colleges were asked that you will not give admission in business studies. Did you listen this sentence from any country, that you will not give admission in business studies? All countries grow by business. If Canada GDP ratio is much high and Canada is a developed country, this is due to the business. All prime ministers of the countries are visiting other countries to import the business, to capture the business. The business people are required elsewhere. You can understand the pressure of housing crisis, a course which can boost the country, which can boost the economy of the country. And that courses were being stopped, and that college was astonished that we will not import, we will not invite the students. Similarly, attestation letter, recommendation letter, spouse especially, spouse visa ban, in which the spouse cannot go direct with the student. In some courses, they can go, and still spouses are little bit allowed in some courses, but still spouse cannot go with the students. It's also a problem for the migrants. I think, I believe, if one student who is working in Canada for 5 years, for 4 years, if you are sending back him to his own country, you know this is loss of Canada, this is not the loss of the student. This is my opinion, and this is my analysis. You can create your own analysis. Reason I tell you, if you are a student, at least 2-year education or 3-year education or 4-year education or 5-year education you got in Canada, then you get the bridging visa, you got the work permit, and you started work in the companies. 2 year you worked, 3 year you worked, almost 6 years, 7 year you stayed. And IRCC previous rule, in which they told that PGWP, postgraduate work permit visa, we are reducing the work permit for the students. Post study work permit is reduced so that they must not apply for the permanent residency. So what is going on? If they will not stay in Canada after 8 years, just you think, this is loss of country. This is loss of student also, but this is the biggest loss of the country, because that person gets the education in that country. Those professors of the Canada gave him quality knowledge with the quality TL plan, the teaching learning plan. They have complete practical training in the universities, top universities of the Canada and top colleges of the Canada. Remember, the universities and the colleges of the Canada are now at the level number one in the world. That's why Canadian international education is almost at number one after Australia. So what is going on? When they will study there, and now they knew the habitat of Canada, they knew the working condition of the Canada, they knew the people of the Canada, they were working there. Definitely when you work, your work definitely increase the economy of the Canada, because now almost they will have more motivation of the work than the Canadian citizen psychologically. Reason is that the Canadian citizen definitely will rely on resources of Canada. I am citizen, therefore I will not work, the Canada will pay me the amount. If I have a Canadian citizen, definitely they had investment, housing, etc. They will purchase 2-3 houses and will get the rents, and they will also, their kids will be paid free fee to the colleges, and all type of the facilities they will get because they are the citizens. So they will have less motivation of the work. They will see, because we will not work, we will be sponsored by the Canada. But on the other hand, these people who are not getting permanent residency and who are working as a work permit holder and switching towards the PR, they will have more motivation. Their quality work will, if the Canada is growing now currently in the research, according to research, not because of Canadian citizens, because of this skilled workers. Simple as that. Because of these students. Definitely students and skilled workers are in the heart that they will get PR. That's why they are working with full motivation. But when you will finish the motivation, that you will not get the PR. When you will finish the motivation, you will not get the PR, definitely. They will not work much in Canada, and they will not stay much in Canada, because they think that PR they are not giving, why we are working very hard, and they will leave Canada. And Canada will little bit already lack in the skilled worker, because I showed that housing crisis which is created due to shortage of skilled worker, especially construction related industry. And now this current statement of the Mark Miller, that we are going to give permanent residency to all temporary resident visa holders, it means that Mark Miller understands this motivation, that the persons who are in Canada, when we will finish the motivation, and in previous rules they had finished the motivation, and they clear that you people will not be able to get the permanent residency, and IRCC gave mathematical data, such number of the numbers, these are the numbers we will give the PR in 2024, 2025, 2026, and numbers of the students and number of the skilled workers from all over the world, they are more and PR numbers are less. In other words, they were also reducing the work permit time for the students so that they may not be eligible for permanent residency. That shunned the motivation in the skilled workers who were already working after their study, or they came directly to the Canada. So therefore one word will be very famous if this it will continue, because now currently the Canadian citizens are living. So might be one word will be more famous if they will continue old rule. Canadian resident visa permit holders, Canadian work permit holders, they are leaving Canada. So therefore, I think in this scenario, this is a very big statement, but still explanation is required how it will be practically implemented. If immigration of any country like Canada, IRCC department just announce one thing: the person who will come to Canada will be eligible for the permanent residency. And if he stayed for 5 to 10 years, or 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, he will be given permanent residency. Similarly, if person is staying in any society for 5 years, so he knows everything, and he will be, I think, it will be very useful for that society. But if they will allow maximum students to enter into Canada, this is very good point the Mark Miller raised today, that we will cut the visas. A lot of people, on other hand, are depositing fake documents. This is true, and that in that point IRCC is very right, especially consultants from Asian countries. They are using genuine documents as well, but fake documents as well. There are students coming genuine and fake students. Due to filtration of genuine and fake students, some rules also being changed, and that is, I think, very fair, because when fake students enter, they will not study, and they will start working right from the first day. It will be really bad impression on the universities of the Canada. Their enrollment will decrease, and their repute internationally will be lost. And these students definitely are not useful for the country, for the host country, and they should be deported back, in my opinion. Students should be genuine, but genuine students should be allowed to work genuine. I really in favor of increasing the work permit time during the student visas. Really, it was very grateful news by Mark Miller in the last days. This was the first grateful news which he has given in the last days, that he has increased the work permit time from 20 hours to 24 hours per week. That was another very good news. So two good news by the Mark Miller. I analyzed completely. Hopefully these all my analysis will be helpful for your immigration knowledge of Canada. The increase of work permit time from 20 to 24 hours for the student visas, and this new statement to give the permanent residency to the temporary resident visa holders after rules change, after anxiety, after depression in the students and other skilled workers. These two good news definitely boosting up the morale of the Canadian migrants. Keep watching World Immigration News and Analysis. Thank you very much.